Hey everyone, and welcome back to Master Sight. Today we got game 2 of Adepticon, and we got a great game. We're playing against Javier, who is from Spain. He won UK Adepticlash, or not Adepticlash, UK Clash of Kings. I believe it was 2 years ago, and so he won a free plane ticket over to Adepticon, but was unable to attend last year, so he came this year. So it was awesome to see somebody that clearly a great player. Never been at a tournament with him before, so I was really excited to have the opportunity to play him, and the game will not disappoint. So let's go ahead, jump into his list, and we'll take a look at how this one unfolded here. So he was playing some elves, which we are fairly familiar with. So let's see some of the subtle changes or adjustments that he has in his lists compared to ours. He's got 2 regiments of Gladestalkers. He does have a horde of Sea Guard. He has a troop and a regiment of Silverbreeze. He has the regiment of Stormwind with the Quicksilver Lancer upgrade. Drakon Horde with J-Boots. He has the Mounted Archmage with Alchemist Curse. He has Nimue, Lord on Drakon, Argus Rodnar, and Tidarian. So yeah, he went with the triple living legends: Nimue, Argus, Tidarian. Love Nimue, think she's great. Great combo with the Archmage itself with Alchemist Curse. They got a little bit debuff, but they're still strong. So the one thing that I like the list a lot. The one thing I personally would love to see is that formation. The elf formation is just so good, so juicy. But who am I to tell Javier what to do? He won UK Adepticon or UK Clash of Kings, so he knows what he's doing here. So yeah, let's jump into the game. And there is Javier. So deployment wise, he did troop and regiment of Silverbreeze on the far left with Tidarian behind. He has both of his Gladestalkers already scouted up into the forest here. Horde of Drakons behind. He has Argus. He has that's Nimue. His Alchemist Curse Mage behind the silver storm, not storm, Sea Guard in the middle. He then has his Stormwind Cav way out here with a Drakon Lord out there as well. The scenario we are playing is push. For me, I just kind of said, well, let's run at the shooting. That's my goal here. So I went with Butcher with Horror Riftweaver, Scarecrows, the Tormentors, and what's it called? Soul Flares behind. Butcher, Horror Riftweaver, both Mind Screeches are here to take their shots. Scarecrows, uh, Soul Flares, Butcher, and Dreadfiend. My thought is, well, got to stop that Alchemist Curse Mage or Nimue when we can. But we'll see if we can get a valuable hex off or not. We also need to use these guys to kind of chase him down and overwhelm him as well. So I have the J Boots and the Blade of Slashing units out here. On the right, I have two hordes of scarecrows. One has a soul flare unit babysitting it. That's the Helm of the Drunken Ram. And the other has a Tormentor babysitter. So, token wise, I went ahead and put it was a random roll for tokens, so we rolled two. So I have two tokens out here, one on each horde, and Javier's tokens are both on Argus. So this is the map. Terrain wise, we have this gate thing is impassable, along with this giant tower. Forests are where his glade stalkers are, and in the bottom right, hill here and over here. Flat are both in the middle, and obstacle one in the middle, one over there. So pretty open shooting lanes for him, which we never like to see. But at the same time, there's not much terrain that's preventing me from just running straight forward either. So we're both have somewhat of an advantage. You know what advantage would be great is if we're able to go first turn and just rush him. But no, Javier got first turn, so he took it. I don't blame him. He went ahead and moved up like so. He just kind of, uh, has his nose in the forest over here. Glade Stalkers don't need to move. Alchemist Curse Mage moved over. Nimue ran over here. Otherwise, he's using the Impassable as you'd expect, block charges and everything, but still giving himself in range. He has leader point out of the forest here for shooting with these guys, and he just walked up a little bit over there to get some shots off as well. Over here, he's just repositioning, coming around to the right, wanting me to at least fight to have to get these tokens across over here, which we shall. His shooting, uh, I mean, he has a lot of it, so it's not uncommon. He has, what would that be? 24 from the Glade Stalkers, another 14 plus 7, so 21 more from the uh, Silver Breeze. So 45 shots, all with elite, um, but stealthy. So, he should hit 15 times with the elite, probably bumps it up to more like 18 times. And then wound wise, he should be looking at 12 wounds total. So, you know, on average, he needed a 9 one time because no inspiring for me. It's not out of the realm of possibilities to get this open horde shot off in one go. Would have loved for it not to happen, but we're gonna start a little bit on the back foot here. Javier's got the first turn, the advantage of taking off a unit, so it's our turn, and we have to apply our own pressure. So we do that. So everything up here, the all three butchers, both horror rift weavers, even the soul flare unit, it's all in charge range of everybody over here. All three of these units right now. Um, so we're just applying pressure to that shooting core. If we can take out the shooting, it's gonna have to bring in the combat units, and then we can hopefully, just whittle them down over time. I was able to get a hex off on his Alchemist Curse Mage this turn, so that's going to at least prevent him from trying to take out one of these butchers or a horror rift weaver, even though the rift weavers are going to be pretty tough for him to take out. They only height 2. I'm sitting behind my guy. I'm getting cover even though I'm on the hill with him, so it's a pretty good combo. Was able to get clear shots with some lightning bolts into his Silver Breeze unit here. Even have shots into the troop if we wanted. So, but at this point, the 7 shots from the troop isn't as vital. I think we want the regiment to be taken down. If we get a lucky waiver, it's pretty well stuck. It can't back up and get out of range. So I would like to, you know, get some wounds on it, and then hopefully some charges will kill it. Anyway, we are, yeah, we're all right. I think we're still okay. We just don't want another great round of shooting from Javier, and everything will be just fine. Over on the right here, we ran up. We are not touching the hills so that he can't charge with the cav. And then we're blocking the obvious jump around. We're staying outside of 20 inches here. Blocking the obvious path of jumping around. We're leaving him opportunities to come towards the center, but if I'm devoting, 3 or 4 units to stop a single Drakon Lord, I feel like it's a losing battle already. So I devote my 2 units here, and just know that I'm gonna have some. He's gonna have some flank opportunities coming up, and I'll just have to accept it. So, but yeah. So shooting does a little bit of damage. I think we did 4 or 5 wounds into the regiment. So perfectly acceptable. We do not get a waiver, but yeah. And also, I was keeping back the soul flares here. They could have easily been up there applying pressure, but I want to prevent his Dragon Lord from flying over. Also, Nimue has the ability to pop over anytime she wants, which Nimue's in a very good spot to prevent me from hexing her. So he's using the terrain well. He knows what he's doing. It turns out. So Javier's positioning. Not only did the Dragon Lord end up over here, but his Alchemist Curse Mage with speed 18 just ran through, pivoted, ran through. He's sitting behind this impassable over here, which there is. Let's see here. There is a slight gap, like where this clock is, that an individual could come around that side, which is a little annoying, but yeah. So I just need to be aware of that and know that it's possible. But anyway, he hops over here so he can get some breath shots onto my butcher, but it's in the flank arc, so I'm getting cover and stealthy. Um, so we're not eating too much damage there. He jumps over as we expected with the Drakon character. He moves the cav up like so. Just kind of blocking the middle unit here from really getting anywhere. Which, yeah, kind of fine, kind of expected. So, um, yeah, otherwise everything else stood still and shot. And he did some damage to a few different things. I forget what he got here. He did kill the troop of tormentors, which not terribly upset about. They didn't have a charge this next turn anyway, so I'm actually okay with him shooting those guys versus shooting any of the main units in the front right now. He does put a couple wounds on the butcher, but he's fine. And I think the big thing is he does 8 wounds, and I believe he waivers this soul flare unit back here. So on my turn, we can't let him keep shooting. So we go ahead and charge everything we can. Back up the soul flares here. We're just adjusting for lightning bolts into the troop now. And big thing is I did pick up the center token in such a way that his horde will not be able to come countercharge me. So forgot to mention the first game, some of the things I did with Wind Blast. I was using it on a couple of units periodically, nothing huge or major. But this one is pretty big. On the first turn, I did move up and I pushed him back to his deployment line, which means that I can touch the token that was in the center and pick it up without his 12-inch charge range being threatening to me. So did some funky maneuvers here, we'll say, with these bad boys. So Um, I had to turn them sideways for two reasons. One, get out of 20 inches of this guy. Two, get out of 20 inches of Tidarian. So they have a perfect line here where they are out of charge range of both of those flyers, and the Dracons are in their flank. So we're living life in the safe zone with these guys. So we're just trying to stay alive. There's a lot of threat range with elves, and you gotta exploit the gaps when you have them. So, and then we can't really cop a flank charge on too many things. I kind of wanted this horde to go over this way anyway. The Sea Guard are one of the key units I want to avoid with my hordes, just because they have the volume of attacks to take them out. And oh, this was the other thing. He wavered this unit too with the Horde of Sea Guard. So yeah, his Sea Guard were on fire, needing sixes to shoot. They uh they did some bad things. The first turn they didn't do much because he had to move, and then so it was cover and stealthy, having shots. But like this turn, he does 5 wounds. He's not going to stop there. So um, yeah, so we have, 3 tokens. We do move up onto the hill a little bit here, and we're moving these guys up. So he can charge this horde or this horde with the Quicksilver Lancers. Um, so I want these guys, the Tormentors, to be in a position to counter whichever one he charges. Um, I am a little bit afraid of the double charge with the regiment and the Drakon into uh, into this horde. It is possible he picks it up, but I do have the Dread Fiend now looking that way to avoid getting flanked by this guy. So it would lock him in at the very least, and I hopefully would be able to clean up. Uh, but yeah, we are we're just desperately needing some of these charges up here to clear out units because we're going to be losing some stuff here quickly, and that's just the way elves play. So we do get a pretty big win. On his last turn, Nimue did heal 2 or 3 wounds off of the regiment, so I think they had 2 wounds on him still when I was done charging. So I pick up the unit, and then reform wise, there really wasn't great options. I probably shouldn't have done what I did, which was back up here. I probably should have, at the very least, moved forward with this unit, because then, or maybe sidestep, because keep him in the cover from shooting, and then also make it hinder charges for anything that was charging him. So small mistake on my part, but uh, yeah. Oh, and my lightning bolt did get a lucky waiver over here. Well, lucky, 6 wounds, so I needed a 5 to waiver. So we got a waiver over here, which is awesome. Um, yeah, and then the double charge here produced 6 wounds, and we got a waiver there as well. And I think we only did maybe a couple over here. So it is Javier's turn, and his Dracons back there were exposed. I was going to be able to charge him with something, so he has to commit. And something, again, small minor detail mistake is that I could have kept those Dracons in the front of this unit if I was back like an inch, probably. But I made a mistake. I didn't do that, so he took the flank. It's not a huge deal because I think a front charge would have killed them anyway. But positioning wise, just need to be a little bit cleaner. Recognize some of those things. So he does take the flank against the Horror Riftweaver, which again I wish I had a better position on. I knew he was going to get his choice of flank of either one of those two. So yeah, it just was not not as well thought out as it should have been. So, uh, and then this is actually in a shoot after a shooting phase. He flew over with Nimue, getting some Cloak of Death, and there used to be a Soul Flare unit here, but Nimue blasted it. Um, Also, there used to be a Soul Flare unit here, but those, Seaguard needing sixes, I think they did like 7 wounds to me this turn. It was just absolutely ridiculous. So over 2 rounds, so it's 50 shots. He needed sixes and then fours. So 50 shots on sixes, we're looking at like 8 hits and then fours. So it should have been like 4 wounds over over 2 turns of shooting. But he got, I think it was 12 wounds total. So it wasn't pretty for me. It was rough. So anyway, um, yeah. And then he went ahead with the Nimble Cav and moved him over here to out of front arc of these guys. So, but he's on the board edge, so there's no more maneuvering room for him this way. So we got him cornered, and my thought right now is he's gonna get the charge off of me. I knew that going in, but since his Drakon Lord went towards the center, uh, I have a horde and these tormentors that are gonna be able to combat him. So he's gonna charge my horde. Odds are he doesn't break me. He's also been giving Argus for these guys to have inspiring. Um, so I will actually have inspiring now because of that. So his regiment coming in, threes with the lead and then twos. I should survive 1 round of that with my horde, and then I countercharge with the horde. I get the leapers in there for 1 round of combat. So you know I might not waver him, but I should do like 5 or 6 wounds between both of them, maybe even a couple more. But if I, average 6 wounds, even if I don't waver him, then he countercharged, kills either the horde or the regiment or the troop, and then I charge in with the whatever's alive after that, and I should be able to at least waver him, getting him up to like 9 wounds, roughly 10 wounds, probably over the course of those 2 combats, and then hopefully kill him on the third round of combat. So that's my goal here is take the 2v1, and I should have that 1 token pretty clear. I just need to protect the other 2 tokens right now because I'm also playing uh, offense, I guess, really well. I'm keeping Argus cornered, so he's not going to be able to get Argus across the middle line unless something goes horribly wrong over there, um, which could happen. So I think I have a good hold on the objective side of this game currently in this position. But yeah, the shooting hurts, and the shooting hurts. Yeah, when soul flares don't get to see combat, it's sad. As expected, he kills that guy. He kills the horde with the double flank sandwich, and reforms as such. Then it's my turn. So I just maneuver. The Dragon Lord's looking in towards the center here. I go ahead and charge. Really, I could have charged Sidarian with these guys, but I want to hold down these Dracons. My thought is I'm gonna win because of the right flank, so I want to keep as many flyers from being able to reposition over there as possible. So I just maintained that side of the board and charged in here. I likely don't win this combat, so we're just going to do what we can and hopefully get some lightning bolts in to finish them off later. In the meantime, though, we're actually not targeting Nimue because we're getting stealthy from Nimwe's fireball. We're trying to target the troop and the alchemist curse mage, who is going to be a pain. I know that for sure. And the troops are already pretty well damaged, so I shoot one lightning bolt into the troop, one into the caster, just see if we can get a waiver or something, a couple wounds on it, stop his shooting from later on here. Because I need to make sure that units that I have that hold tokens aren't going to get just shot off in the last turn. So, but yeah, we continue the fight, go in here, countercharge here, and then we do our plan, which is just turn, prevent him from being able to nimble around anything, and get where he needs to go. Although he can, I think he should. No, he's not on the hill. That was the thing. So he's not majority on the hill, so he can't see past my unit here. So he can't do a nimble charge over to here. Um, so that was why I felt comfortable in this situation. I did start moving the Dreadfiend this way, giving his Drakon a flank charge, but it's going to be a hindered flank. So again, I'm okay with that. And this is how the board state looks. So we uh, we lost a lot more units to shooting than we were expecting. I really expected to have the Soul Flares that were sitting over here alive. That would have been great. I could have maybe double charged the Drakons, or I could have at least charged this Drakon character if I was, pretty devastated on wounds, just to hold him up and block off and, be a pain. But yeah, we're when elves go elf shooting goes well in the first half of the game, it's really difficult. So we got to do some stuff to make up for it, and you know what? We're doing all right. We take out a Glade Stalker unit. My reforms I think are a little bit better this turn, so I knew I wavered this troop over here again. This guy's sitting pretty hurt right now because he got Alchemist Curse and targeted, and he was shot at coming into this. So he was a champ for being alive at this point anyway. So he's just going to sit in the cover, but he's going to look this way. My big thing was I didn't want Argus to be able to actually run around this side and him clear out stuff so that Argus could get across the board. So I have two units facing this way, and then this butcher's protected flank. He's facing straight towards Argus right now, and I can also hit the flank of this unit if I want to. So yeah, shooting was good. We got a waiver where we wanted. We put 3 wounds on the individual as well, and then picked up this Glade Stalker. We got the dice coming our way, boys. We got a waiver against the Drakons, which is huge because Tidarian's in our front. So he doesn't have enough room to back off and maintain an inch away and fit Tidarian in here. So we just saved our soul flares, boys. It might be a game. We'll see. Um, yeah, and then we didn't have any other combat. So uh, it's turn 4 for Javier, and everything's pretty well straightforward here. So he takes the front with Tidarian into the Horror Riftweaver. He's going to shoot Alchemist Curse at the already heavily damaged Butcher back here. He just sits where he is there. He does start moving the Sea Guard aggressively over, which um, was something that he called out after the game. He was saying he should have done that a turn earlier. But if you remember, last turn was the turn that he shot and did like 7 wounds to a Soul Flare unit on 6s. So if he moved, he wasn't going to do that much damage because he was having shots at that point. So, um, it worked out for him, but I think he wanted just a better position to contest these tokens that I have over here. He does take the flank with the Drakon, and he does charge the front with the Cav. So, and that front charge does put the Cav on the hill now, so I can actually see them. And yeah, go to his shooting. He shoots, puts some wounds onto these guys here. Alchemist Curse does pick up the butcher that was over here, and he starts fireballing into one of those two mind screeches at this point. So there goes the butcher. And then it's my turn. Big thing that happened here. Tidarian hindered into this little boy. Only did one wound to me and didn't waver me. And it was just one of those where it's like, what? So you're saying there's a chance? We countercharge Sidarian. Hell yeah, we're countercharging here. We're countercharging here. I take the Butcher Flesh Ripper into his Argus because look at those two tokens, boys. We got to get them. Also, these guys with 7 wounds, I have a good chance of wavering them, if not potentially killing them. So I'm fine with not taking the flank here with the other butcher. I wanna get the tokens, get Argus, just as a safety net, just in case the right flank doesn't go the way we want them. So yeah, and then we countercharge with the Dread Fiend. I do drop that token, so the Dread Fiend is not holding the token currently. And then we position ourselves so we get one lightning bolt that'll go over into the troop, and the other one can go into Nimue. And then we double charge over here, so we take the tormentors and the horde in. This horde moves up and then turns so that it can't get nimble charged and flanked from the cav. We block that off. That was definitely something I wanted to do. It also gave me just enough range to be out of 12 of the this horde over here. So, like I said, I'm liking our position. This is the turn. We charge in, do 6 wounds or so. We don't even have to waver, but if we do, it's over. Like we waver him, we got this. Because it's a flank charge. Then the next turn, he doesn't have room to really back up and prevent that. So I'm liking our positioning here. We have control of pretty much all the tokens, even though Argus holds those tokens over there. We're we're keeping him in the corner. So yeah, this is how it looks, and we shoot, we waver here, we kill back here. So shooting is great. 2 wounds and get a waver on Nimue, stop that fireball. Hell yes, we love it. So we got some lucky waivers going our way for sure. Some high value wavering happening. So his shooting was hot first half of the turn. Our nerve dice here are coming through in the later half. So but dice that were not coming through with us are over here. So, well, we killed a Gladestalker unit. Great. Yay. That's exactly what we wanted. We failed to do a single wound to Argus with this butcher, which we were hindered. It's not that bad, but I would love to have, 1 or 2 wounds on him. That would have been nice. Um, and then we don't do a single wound with our Horror Riftweaver. And he rolled, I think, a 6 for his D6 attacks. So out of 12 attacks, we don't get a single wound onto this guy. And I, in fact, did that combat first. You can see we did kill Dracons, which, hey, that's awesome, right? But it was just swingy dice stuff that was happening. So the fact that he only did 1 wound to me was ridiculous. The fact I do no wounds to him is even more ridiculous. And now I basically just say, that right flank, I wanted to protect it, so I actually turned the Soul Flares. My thought with this, even though I know he's not grounded, so he can hit me in the flank right here, it's going to be hindered, so maybe I get lucky, for one. Two, if he hits me over here, then he's leaving all three of these guys alive to hunt down Argus, and then I should hopefully be able to take him out, distribute the tokens between two of the guys that hopefully are still alive, and go from there. So even if the right flank falls apart for me, I have some way to win with these tokens right here. And I force him to basically take the flank, because if he doesn't, these guys are going into these guys over here, or the the Sea Guard have to turn and face me to avoid a flank or even a rear potentially. So it's one of those where I'm forcing Javier's hand to do it, and it, I kind of have the upper hand either way he chooses. So it's not what I want. Like, I would rather have not have done a wound and then not give him an option and force his guys over here to look at me, because they can't get out of my range being in that terrain. Um, anyway, so but again, our dice go crazy and we do 2 wounds to this the Drakon Lord, and we get a waiver. And this is one of those where, because of the math, before this he could have double charged me, because his leader points over here, he can see past, do an easy double charge, and I'm already on a couple wounds. He has a good chance of picking this guy up, killing him, overrun or reform, maybe get onto the token, and that's not great for me. But with this waiver, it's physically impossible for this Sea Guard unit to get into him now, because we are exact same base. He's no longer nimble. All he can do is back up, but backing up blocks his own charge anyway. So that waiver is pretty key, and limits what these Sea Guard can do this next turn. Anyway, so a lot of crazy shit happening. Nothing was expected. With waiver, even killing the Drakons was not terribly likely. Um, so yeah, we'll take what we get. This is what it looks like on top of 5. Oh, I forgot to mention another thing that happened. You know how we were doing the math over on the right flank? Yeah, screw the math. We only did 2 wounds, and we are struggling now because he's countercharging the tormentors, and he easily picks those guys up, even on a countercharge, even disordered. And then we're already at like 10 wounds with the horse, so we're not it's not sitting pretty. So the right hand flank plan is getting screwed up right now. So anyway, the game's crazy. I can't think straight at this point. Javier does what he has to do. He takes the flank. He kills the troop over here and reforms like so. This hill was being annoying, but yeah, we knew where he was. Um, and this at this point, our clocks were getting a little low, so I wasn't taking it near as many pictures as I should have been. But you'll notice, look, there's no soul flares here. In fact, they're over here. What Javier did was he gifted me a Snake Eyes. So he did like 10 wounds, I think, to him. And anything but Snake Eyes will at the very least waiver him. But he Snake Eyes them, which let them pop. Then that's the Jesse's Boot unit. Pop the Jesse's Boot, go into the rear. And that is not what Seaguard want to see right now. So, yeah. It is, and I think the Sea Guard have his, or somebody had it. I forget who had his Jesse model. Oh, it might have been his. Yeah, it's his Alchemist Curse Mage has the Jesse model. That's what it is. So yeah, that is not good for him. That is unfortunate. Just, but it was the crazy chain of events. It was the fact that he charges a Horror Riftweaver, only does a wound. I countercharge, do no wounds. He then gets a flank charge out of it, rolls a Snake Eyes, and I get a rear charge now. So I'm half expecting that I'm going to roll a Snake Eyes and I'm going to lose the game off of it. So I actually decide to turn my horde over here to look at this unit and force a hindered charge into him, because I'm like, I need to keep this token, because this token is it's a mistake. This token shouldn't even be on this unit right now. I should have dropped that token and then charged, because he's at 2 wounds. I don't really have a good chance of killing him. And, on his turn 6, all he has to do is kill me, and I don't have anything that can, threaten him. So he kills me, he picks up the token, and he's scoring points. I should have dropped it on his side of the board, forcing him to come back over to that side of the board, if there was a turn 7. So just I made too many mistakes, I feel like, in this game. In all scenario play mistakes mostly, which is the big ones. So a couple of the positioning ones, it's like, yeah, that wasn't great in hindsight, but this one is, I think, a basic one. You're not going to win a combat. Don't give the token to your opponent. That should be a golden rule. But I do charge the Drakon back, and I pick up the token this turn after I charge. I then, over here, see if I have a closer. I do not. So over here on the left, I double stack my Mind Screeches, thinking that I'm not going to kill Tidarian. Definitely not even, yeah, I'm just not worried about it. So I double stack, preventing him from charging the one with Ronnie the Bard. Also, Nimue, who was wavered, backed up onto the hill, so I can still shoot her with the back one. It's just going to be cover. So I was okay with that. And on his turn, he ran with Argus. So he ran away. He was out of my charge arcs. So yeah, he killed one of my butchers with his Alchemist Curse last turn. So anyway, so combat wise, we do kill the horde. Started with 0 wounds, but 36 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 2s. We get enough in there. We do another 2 wounds to the Drakon, but he's fine this turn. And we only do like another couple wounds and don't waver him over here. We do, a little bit to Tidarian. I think it was a rear charge with, yeah, it's a rear charge with the Butcher, is what it was. So we knock out his fly. He'll be hindered at the very least here. Oh, and we waver Nimue again, bringing her up to 5 wounds. So he backs her off, charges. He runs over here to take out the Soul Flares with his Alchemist Curse, which he does successfully. My guys are facing left and left, so he brings uh, Argus back into the threat. The Butcher can charge him, but I'm out of arc with the Horror Riftweaver, and this Butcher was facing this way because it charged Tidarian. So, yeah, and he charges the Horde here. He countercharges there. All is good. He does kill the Soul Flares. He does kill the Mind Screech, but I still have the Ronnie the Bard alive, which is great. And he turns around to face this way because the Butcher's coming for him. He kills it. He overruns to get onto the hill, and this is his final position here on turn 6. Yeah, not what I like to see, but I feel like if there is a turn 7, he's going to stick there anyway. So at this point, he has 2 points for this token because he's still majority on this side. It's really close, but yeah, he is. And he has 1 point for holding the. I mean, he holds 2 tokens, but he can only score 1. So he has 1 point for holding this on his side. My Dread Fiend has 1 point for holding this on my side of the board, and I have 2 over here. So it's a draw right now. We're looking to, yeah, it'd be great if we had put some wounds on Argus before when we charged him, but yeah, he's still fresh, so we're hoping for a miracle and killing him there. And yeah, that's what we try to do. So move over, shoot at Nimue, just make it a front charge here. And I do decide to just turn and run with the Dread Fiend because I want to make sure I score the point. It also takes me out of charge range of these guys if they decided to drop the token and charge the flank of the Dread Fiend on the last turn, which he would force me to lose a token with that. So it's not the worst idea in the world, but um, actually, it's a great idea if his Drakon character was able to fly. But I would likely ground him. Anyway, so and then I charge the individual here, and I charge Argus, and then I charge Tidarian just to hold him back if there is a turn 7, because I don't want him taking out, maybe this guy who picks up the token. So anyway, we do kill the Alchemist Curse Mage, which is great actually because we get the Ronnie the Bard model. So that's awesome. And I don't have any other pictures, but we put only 3 wounds on Argus. We don't kill him. We do ground Tidarian. I think I wavered Nimue again with a lightning bolt. Um, and that's where the game ended. So no turn 7. It is a draw. In the end, I did have Javier had the max points for battle. He killed over 1,500 of mine. And I only had +2 points for battle, but I had +2 points for the Bard objective. I kept mine alive and I killed his. So it ended up being a 14-13 draw. And that might sound confusing for those of you that watched my intro video because I did say that attrition was a differential, which in that pack it did clearly say that, but that apparently was a mistake. So it's only positive attrition in the tournament here. So that's why I got a 20 point max win in the first game because Corey clearly killed a bunch of my stuff. And obviously Javier killed even more of my stuff. I think I only killed 1,300 points. I think he killed like 1,700 or something like that. So he definitely had the advantage on kill points. If we did go to a turn 7, I don't think. I think it's beneficial to me because with that reform, Argus can't hide from this Horror Rift Weaver. He can get out of range of this butcher by just pivot and move. Um, but yeah, and then I don't even think he takes the cab into me. It's a hinder charge. I probably have like 4 wounds, 5 wounds on me right now. But even if he kills me, he's only going to score 1 point. Um, so it's a really big risk because he's guaranteed 2 points right now for just holding this and staying on this side. And I get 2 points as well. But you know what? What he probably does is he charges with them, and then his Drakon Lord just goes and picks up the token he drops over here. So that actually would be the play, and that would really stink for me if that worked for him. But if he does that, assuming that works for him, he has, 1 point with this unit holding it, 2 points with the Drakon, so he has 3. And then it all comes down to uh, does Argus hold on against the Horror Rift Weaver charging him because my Dread Fiend easily moves across the board with his 1 token to score 2, and if my Horror Rift Weaver kills Argus, I pick up the tokens and I score another 2, so it'd be 4-3 at that point. And yeah, there's really Tidarian's locked down, so there's no way to prevent that. So it all would come down to can the Horror Rift Weaver do the job and finish this guy off. So like I said, in the end, just a great game, a crazy game, a bunch of just weird dice chain reaction things. Just and the game plan on the right flank I thought was solid, but the dice just weren't there for me. I clearly had a play where I just dropped the token dummy, and then even if I die, I don't lose the game like or draw the game in this case. So I had a chance to lose this game. So anyway, Javier's a great player. He has a very difficult list. He knows how to play it well, and we're I'm I think a draw is very fair in the game. See, his shooting was hot early, so I'm happy with the draw, but also kind of disappointed because I know I had plays to make it even more competitive of a game. So either way, was a pleasure. Javier was an awesome dude. We sat there and talked for a good half hour after our game. Learned a lot about him, and uh, we ended up hanging out later on in the event. Gave him some rides places because he didn't have a car. He flew in and everything. So just an awesome dude. Really glad I got to meet him, and we were talking. I hope I can make it to the UK Clash someday, and we'll likely see each other again. I'm thinking so. Javier, thanks for the game. Play anytime, man. And that's game two. So we got 14 points. So we're still sitting pretty good with 34 points out of 40 possible in the event. So we're likely going to be playing another good game in the next one, another hard opponent. So we'll see you guys in game three. Thanks for watching.